Aha. Good morning.
There we go. Live stream starting. Blah blah
Can
blah.
I mention something I noticed that looking at the live stream today? Your image looks very clear, but I for many times look at you through here, and you always look blurry. And I'm just wondering, look, is it just me that's getting it blurry, or is that also going out like on the YouTube? But the
Um,
last YouTube stream that I
you
watched, you were completely blurry, and it was so blurry on the YouTube too.
YouTube is sometimes blurry. I'm pretty sure it's
No,
like
but
my.
it looks blurry on my end too. It's not just YouTube.
Hmm. I don't know because you look fine, and
Yeah, but
I
it's your
and
feed. It's what
and
I've
my
noticed.
and my in and out is symmetrical. So like if I see you smooth, you should be able to see me smooth. I don't know, but yeah, it probably is my connection. I don't know.
Well, I was just giving you that FYI because I noticed that I was just for a while I was just thinking maybe it's I'm just seeing it that way. It's just coming through to me. But then I went
Now,
on.
does it look better on Riverside or is it just bad
No,
on
no, no. It
YouTube?
looked just as when it looks bad on Riverside, it looks bad on YouTube. Is what I've noticed.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
what I. That's what I. Yeah. So yeah. So
Okay. Data point appreciated. Okay. Did I mean
right now you look great.
Okay,
I
good.
mean, what's in the background looks like a bomb went off, but you look great. I mean, there are I'm noticing now because the feed is good.
Yes.
To your right, there are holes punched in the wall.
Where?
Just a little. Go further right. Go further right. Go to your right. Go for to no. You're going left. The other way. Keep going. Keep going.
Oh yeah, I don't even see that part of my screen but yes, there are holes over there.
There are holes punched in your wall. Yes.
Yes.
I just because it's not blurry today, I can see the holes.
Yes.
Okay, yes, good. Good.
You need those. They're part of.
I mean, that way you can get to whatever's behind the wall easier. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay, let's see. We should have this thingy now. Come on. Blah, 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 blah. It says successfully posted. 10:03. Stupid thing. Is it here? Okay, it's there, but it's not here yet. Yes, exactly. Oh. I'm just waiting for the live stream announcement to be visible.
We're streaming. Streaming. It's a big stream. Steady stream. Right?
Exactly. So 6 days.
Ooh, fuck. Stupid fucking fuck.
There you go. I found it that way. Okay. Shall we start?
Yeah.
Okay. Get my notes up. Blah, blah, blah. Switch this to live. Here we go. Welcome to Curmudgeon's Corner for Saturday, February 8th. 2025. It's just after 18 UTC as we're starting to record. I'm Sam Mentor. Yvonne Boa is here again. Hello, Yvonne.
Hi.
You seem enthused. Did you have a great birthday?
The birthday was very good. Um, the only, you know, there was. Here's one thing that happened. Okay, so
Okay.
my friend that you know, Mireya. Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
she did at the last minute. It wasn't totally a surprise because I had to go pick her up, but she said I organized this dinner. I was putting together a dinner, and I had told her about it. I'm like, well, it would be great if you could come. And then also she surprised me and said, well, I got a ticket. I'm coming. Let's go. So she flew down. Um, on I dinner was on Saturday night. She flew down Saturday afternoon so we could go to dinner, and flew back Sunday to go home just so she could come to my birthday dinner. Okay. So
Okay.
she did do that, which is really awesome. Okay, all right. We had a great time. The one thing that wasn't awesome is that Manu had been sick the previous couple of days, and Manu had wanted to go to the restaurant. And we got to dressed him up, and he went to the restaurant. He kind of like he soldiered to get to the restaurant, then got there and was like, "Oh my god, I feel terrible. I need to go home." And Juana said, look, you've got your family here, your friends that came. I'll just take them home. I'll take an Uber and I'll take them back home." So that sucked.
Mm.
Okay, so that wasn't, but it was still we still had a really good time, but Manu couldn't come. Now Manu did insist that, well, okay, fine, so I could be there at the restaurant that day, so then we need to go later, we need to go back. So I'm not sure if we're gonna go today. I don't think, no, we're not gonna go today because we're gonna go see Dog Man, the movie.
Dogman.
Yes, yes.
What's Dogman?
Dogman is a series of books, and
Okay.
that is a police officer that had a dog, and they were in some kind of like accident explosion, and so all of a sudden they decided that the way to save them was to fuse the guy's head to the dog, or the dog's head to the guy, something along those lines, and so it became
Okay.
Dogman.
So you said it's a series of books. I see it's
Yeah, there's a
movies
series
too.
of books. Well, no, it's the first movie that I know of about Dogman. But there's a series of Dogman books, and they're
So
all about
I
this guy who is a cop that's half man, half dog.
so wait, are you seeing the movie or are you
Yes,
going to like is the author coming
he's been
into
written. No, no,
something
no.
new?
The movie came out. It came out like about a week ago. Manu has been reading all the books. He really likes them. The movie came out, so we're gonna go today to go see the movie. So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
I'm looking. There's a
yeah,
2025 animated film.
yeah, yeah. That's it.
There was a 2018 Italian crime drama film by that name,
Okay, I don't think that's it.
and a 2023 French action drama film by that name.
I don't think that's it either.
There was a children's musical by that name,
Well, that may be related to the book series.
and there was an by King's X by that title as well.
I don't think that's it either.
And there's a graphic, a comedic graphic novel series by Dav Pilkey.
Yeah,
Pilkey?
that's the author. Yes,
And then there was a
Dave
character
Pilkey.
by Gillian Mark as well.
Nah, yeah, but it's Dave Pilkey. That's the author of the series. So Dogman.
So I have added all three movies and the book series to my lists to potentially
So you'll
watch at
watch
some
it
point.
sometime like in 2080 something.
Yeah, something
Yeah, something
maybe.
like that, perhaps.
Yeah. So anyway,
Uh so yeah, so it was really cool that Minea came down. I mean, I see, I mean, I talked to her regular. I had, we had met up at some event in New York, uh not last year, but the year before. But I used to go more often to see somebody that I know from Pittsburgh. Sam's met her at least once, more, and more times. And I don't know. So they decided just to surprise me to come for my birthday, and it was really, 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 really cool that we
Cool.
got to hang out. So yeah. Even though it's like she got here like the day before at like 4 o'clock, and then her departure flight was at 7 a.m. the next day. So I had to, we had to. It was yeah. So yeah. So anyway, so that was birthday.
Very, very exciting. Anything else for our but first segment that you want to relate before I say something? I
More,
don't
yeah,
have
because
I
that
don't
was just
have
my
much
question
to
of
be
what happened
honest.
at my birthday. AM
Yeah.
bus first. Look, it's speaking in generalities. Okay, all right.
Yes. Speaking in
The
generalities.
about the current state of our world. This is a very exhausting time that we live in again. We did this before with Trump before, where it was just with him, it is this entire circus of him doing shit to just that becomes it does become impossible to ignore as much as you
Yes.
want to. Okay. Um, and it's exhausting for everybody. Okay. And because that's what he wants. He wants the attention. That's why he's doing this more than anything else. Um, and it's just, I mean, between my job and shit and whatever, I mean, this is fucking exhausting, man. I have decided, and I have set this, and I did this, and keeping very, I'm keeping to this. I have to completely set time limits on how much scrolling I'm doing on
Mm.
whatever the fuck it is. Because no, it's just draining. I have set a limit of 40 minutes a day. That's
Wow.
it.
I can't.
What I'm doing is, which is less stressful. Still, you get the news, but it is honestly using more Apple News to
Okay.
reach us more of what's going on, to know what's going on. So I've been devouring tons of those, and I've been actually noticing that I'm settings that I hadn't used before, and that I could subscribe to certain things, and I could get certain things a certain way. Although, here's the one thing that I have as a feedback about this. I'll tell you what, the content in Apple News is fantastic, but they haven't really updated the application for you to tweak and customize those feeds more attuned to the taste. They've left it a little bit. They've added some features and done some stuff, but damn it, they should allow you to be able to customize that feed more. Um, that is the drawback, but it really does provide you a place where I can get from a ton of sources just what the hell is going on without having to go on social media to do that and having to go to each individual website to get that information. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so yeah, so that's what I have decided
For that kind
to
of
do.
overview thing, I still use Google News more. And I don't use their app. I'll go to their website on desktop and go to their for you.
But the thing is that you could use it on the phone. I could use it on the
I
iPad.
know.
It lets me
I
save articles. They've got a lot of content. I didn't realize they've got like New York Magazine. They've got the Atlantic. They've got they have so much, so many. I didn't realize they added even more local newspapers that they buy. You can pick like different newspapers from different places. There's just so much stuff on there that it's just it's available on all the devices. I don't have to just do it on desktop. I find it that I've been using it a lot more, and so I can find out what's going on, but without a lot of the commentary is really just worse than anything many times. Um, you know, yeah, I understand the mood. I don't need it repeated. One of the things that happen is it's just people keep banging on it over and over, and I'm like, okay, yeah, you know what? You're just creating a spiral. This is a depressive spiral. I don't need this shit. I know it's bad. I know it's fucking
Mm.
bad. I don't need, well, I don't need the extra commentary on it. I know it's bad. I can tell. All right. So yeah, so that's what I've come to, but it's still, I mean, it's just, and can I just mention one thing,
Okay.
and I but maybe reiterate this. Why was I so early on caught on to the reality that Elon Musk is an asshole? How the fuck did everybody? Why was everybody so late to this, Sam? Because I've said this for. It's not recent. It's been years. I mean, I'm pretty sure I looked it up. It's like 7 years at least that I've said this. That this guy is a massive asshole. Why did it take
Mhm.
people so long to catch on?
I don't. I mean, he's certainly been a lot more vocal and out there in the last couple of years. I mean, he was always there if you were paying attention, but now uh, he's just in your face constantly.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually I that back slightly. Like in the last few weeks, like his visibility is a little bit different. Um, like he's out there like tweeting obnoxious stuff. Um, but like
But
I
dude,
don't
he
see
did
like
that, man. Like that time he called that guy a pedo back in like the Thailand cave
the cave.
thing, for
Yeah, yeah,
example.
yeah.
The
No, I know,
way
but
that he listen, Sam, why did people miss that anybody that talked and said anything negative about Tesla stock going back 8
oh
years
no,
ago?
I know.
He
Well,
had his whole gang of thugs like these clowns right now at government going and viciously attacking them, doxing them, making their lives
oh
miserable.
no, no, I know. What I was gonna say now though was like his recent, like in the last few weeks, visibility is his Doge thing is doing all kinds of stuff, and I'm sure we'll talk about that later. And he's still doing obnoxious tweets that occasionally get surfaced. But what you don't see as much of, at least I haven't seen as much of lately, actually like him doing videos or public appearances or those. He seems to have quieted down on that front, which is just, I don't know, interesting. Like it's a different kind of visibility, and specifically in contrast to Donald, where yeah, he's also doing his Truth Social posts and all that, but you do see the video of him. I don't know. Maybe it's just maybe it's an illusion based on my
Yeah,
media
but
consumption. I
but
don't
what
know,
I'm
Pete.
saying is my question is, I'm going back to
Yes,
the question.
the question:
Why
why
did it
didn't people
take
notice?
so long for people to notice that this guy is a massive raving asshole?
I think it's all about the level of visibility. I mean, lots of people did notice back when years ago, but lots of people didn't care because those his antics were antics that if you weren't paying attention could easily pass under the radar and you didn't know he was doing those things.
Hmm, I guess.
But now like what he is doing is front and center because it's national news.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's I think a big part of the difference. Also, I mean, honestly, he's gotten bigger too. I mean, you
Well, he
know,
has gained weight.
he I okay. I was talking like he's richer than he was.
Oh, that you mean? Okay.
He's richer than he was. He's more prominent than he was. He's got more, his fingers in more stuff than he was. He's got the big megaphone because he owns Twitter now. So there are a lot of things that make him more visible and
Visible.
more out there than he was 5-10 years ago. I mean, and
But
again, he was out there 5-10 years ago. If you were paying attention, you saw his
right.
stuff. But if you weren't paying, it was right over your head.
It's just I realized that my asshole radar is pretty good. I mean, I was on the Trump is an asshole, massive raving fuckface like 20 years ago plus.
Right.
I mean, and you know that, and so I don't, I don't get it how
You were talking
it's just
about how Trump was an asshole when you were still in the womb.
probably. Uh, but I mean, I was like, I mean, this goes. I mean, my Trump is a fucking like lying piece of shit, like loser. Like it was like late 90s. You know, um, it was in the 90s for sure. But I just I don't. There is this thing where these type of people like right now are quite popular. But I
Mm-hmm.
guess though those are the phases in like the world. I mean, Mussolini was also very popular at one point in Italy. So what the fuck does that
Well,
say?
yeah, I mean, this is why. I mean, we've said before this is a global thing right now. This
Yeah,
isn't
it's
just
not
the
just here.
U.S.
Yeah.
Like people are craving your sort of brash type A, just push whatever the hell you want and don't care about anybody type personalities, because they're frustrated with, you know, the anti-immigrant thing seems to be worldwide. There's frustration generally that with, hey, democracies are slow and it takes time to build consensus and you don't get results fast, and so people are frustrated that, like, hey, we voted for X and it didn't happen, so let's, you know, let's get this guy who's just going to come in like a bulldozer and do whatever. So
So anyway, this is exhausting, Sam. I don't know, fuck. I mean, what I will say that it doesn't help that I haven't been able to exercise as much as I normally do. I notice that the exercise does help get
hmm,
my mind off of this to a certain extent. But I have been traveling for right now for 4 straight weeks. I will travel the
yeah,
next 2 weeks again, so I will wind up 6 straight weeks at least right now of traveling, and it may be more. I don't. It's I my I am having to go basically every week to Puerto Rico right now. I have found it
right.
like inevitable to not get on a plane and go and meet with people. And part of it is also, look, this return to office, it doesn't impact me in the sense that my company hasn't done that. Maybe for
But
some
the people
jobs in
you're
certain.
meeting with have,
Yes,
so you
that's
have
the
to go to
problem.
their
That's
office. Yeah.
right. Yeah. Yes. Because no, I mean they've been like they've actually been pretty uh how do I say pragmatic about that. They know like sales roles. It's like, what are we doing, man? Yeah, we're not, you don't, we're not sending you to the office, whatever. We're not, they don't want to spend the money on the real estate. They were closing real estate. Like even before the pandemic, even before stuff and whatever, they were like, but there are certain roles that, yes, they have said that they want them in the office and certain things and consolidated some in certain places, but they're like, look, I mean, field people covering multiple geographies, like based in whatever. I'm like, what are we doing? I mean, you're going to the office to do what exactly? Your boss isn't even there. What the hell are we doing?
Right.
So that's been like, so they've been pragmatic about that. I haven't heard anything about that's going to make a change in that at any time soon. We don't have an office anywhere to go to anyway, unless they shut it down. So it's not like you. I mean, there was, but if they told me to go back to the office every day, there was an office that was like in a reasonable distance that would have been convenient to go
Mm-hmm.
daily. That I would have been like, okay, I can figure that out. It's fine, no big deal. But they closed it down 2 years ago. So I mean, so that I mean, if
Well, we had a couple snow days here this week, so got to
oh
work from home.
Oh,
which instantly like means, oh, 2 days this week didn't have the commute. Actually, probably got more work done than I would have otherwise. Um, you know, it was nice, I guess. It
how full is the office right now?
Oh, it's getting so it's actually full now.
Yeah.
It's getting so it's actually full. Like, if you want to grab a conference room, it's hard to find one now. If
Okay.
you There are people in the hallways. There are, I have, I think I've said before on this show, like I tend not to sit at my proper desk because I just don't like it. Look, honestly, the issue, and my entire time working has been like this, at least at my current employer, which is over 19 years now. Um,
Oh my God, it's 19
you know,
years.
at the beginning, we had personal two-person offices. Like, so we had an actual office with doors and walls and two
Sure.
people per.
Yeah.
And as long as I got along with my office mate, that was fine. I had no issue with that. I sat in my office a lot. Um, but either when,
Open. You guys went to an open plan. No, no more offices at
well,
some point.
eventually they went to open plans and only managers had offices.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, and even before then, sometimes when it's like I didn't have the best relationship with my office mate, I would do this. But once we went open plan, um, almost all the time I was wandering around trying to find the common areas where they have like couches and comfy chairs and stuff like that.
Well,
Like
those are
every
good, and since they have them there, that's good. I
yeah,
mean, that's not that's
every office tends to have at least a few spaces like
well,
that.
that's good to have those. At least, yeah. So
And
okay.
that's usually where I would go. Like my criteria for actually feeling comfortable sitting down and working is I like to have my feet up. As opposed to just be sitting in a stiff position. It depends what I'm doing, but I like to have my feet up. So I like to have a footstool or whatever that I can put my feet up. I don't like having people around me. I'm sorry. I like to find a space where the next closest person isn't like right next to me. And honestly, yeah, I don't like the feel of having somebody sitting where they can see over my shoulder all the time.
Okay.
And it's not, and yes, I do sometimes check the news. Yes, I do. But it's not like that. My primary concern is, oh my God, they're going to check and they're going to see over my shoulder that I'm not doing work. I have to have one of those hotkeys to bring up the fake spreadsheet or whatever. No, it's not that. It's just I feel self-conscious in a way, like whenever there's people just hovering and that can see exactly what you're doing second by second. Because I will be productive over the course of the whole day, but I don't want to feel like I
You're being
have to.
watched.
Yeah, I don't want to feel like I'm being watched and I can't like flip to the other window for 10 seconds without somebody questioning it and all that kind of stuff. And so those are the spaces I feel comfortable in. And even there, like at my office now, it's getting harder to find spaces that meet that criteria because there are more people, especially at lunchtime, you know, because hey, everybody's using those open spaces for
Yeah.
lunch. Now, I typically don't eat lunch at lunchtime, so I still want to work during that time. So that's been problematic for me. But and also like I'm now the person who sits closest to where my official desk is now actually somebody I do work with. That had not been the case really previously. So I do have stuff to talk to them occasionally. So I've spent a little bit more time at my actual desk than I would have otherwise. And also lately, I've been doing the other time I stay at my desk is if I'm doing something specifically where having bigger multiple screens would be helpful. Like, because if I'm sitting at one of those comfy chairs, I just have my laptop screen and that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And for lots of things, that's absolutely fine. I don't mind. I don't mind the ergonomics of it. I don't mind working on the laptop keyboard and the laptop screen on my actual lap. It's fine. But there's certain things like this last week I've been doing something where I've been trying to refactor this big like this big like document full of information,
Okay.
and I'm trying to restructure it into a new format that makes it easier to see what the hell is going on. And so I've got these two things I'm copying and pasting in between them and looking.
Yeah, you
So
would two screens would be,
so
yeah,
two
oh her.
screens is very helpful in that situation. Two large screens is very helpful in that situation. So I've been sitting more at my desk to do that. You know, and also like if you know, I was gonna say like at home, if I'm having a conference call where I'm going to be going over a document as well as needing to see what the people are saying and seeing their faces and stuff, I always hook up to my multiple screen setup at home. But at work, I actually don't,
No.
because my desk is in the middle of everything and there's people around and it feels rude to have a call there. So I
Sure.
so I go to a conference room or someplace private or one of those little phone booth things, unless there are more people that are also actually in the same building, in which case, okay, well, that's the conference room scenario. We go to the conference room, but even then I'm on my laptop again.
Right.
So although in
Well,
those cases we have the big
I have to
screens,
say,
but
so I got I am now, because I got that new iPad Pro a couple of months ago, which
yeah.
I have to admit that I now that I've got that new iPad Pro, I am definitely using my iPad way more than I
Mm,
used to be doing. Okay. All right.
okay.
I have noticed, holy shit, I am like now like just gravitating to using this iPad a lot more than I expected. But one of the good things is that I carry it, you know, when I'm traveling together with my laptop, and so I can use it as a second screen. So when I
Right.
go to, because we do have an office in San Juan where I've been traveling a lot, and I will go there to a desk, I can, you know, put down my laptop and like connect to the iPad and basically have my two screens right there, like handy while traveling. So that's definitely been, and
I
that
haven't
was
had,
true of my old iPad, but this
but it
you
was
know,
slower.
but it was slower. This is working a lot better. Yes.
So like to I don't know. I guess I'm done with the work. You got me distracted onto the iPad thing. The other on iPads, I keep thinking these days, like, do I want an iPad again? And
I
so
had debate.
far,
I had debated about this for a
so here,
while.
let me tell you my problem with the
Hmm.
"do I want an iPad again" thing is how that thought process goes to me. Is okay. I think I want an iPad again. Maybe, but I don't need like the
Well,
high
true.
end iPad Pro, right?
Sure.
Like I don't even know for sure I'm going to use it. Excuse me. I don't even know for sure I'm going to use the damn thing. So maybe I'll just buy the absolute bottom end iPad, like the cheapest ones, like 350 or something. It's not that expensive. I could go do that, and then just see if I use it. And then if I use it, and I'm like, then maybe I consider upgrading in a year
Yeah,
or something.
I don't.
But then I go look at the bottom end iPad,
And
and I'm
it's
like,
shit. It's you
well,
know not it's very not much. Yeah, it's. I mean,
then you hit Apple's famous ladder of their products.
yes.
Because I'm like, well, looking at this bottom end iPad, it's only $100 more for this one. That's a
And then
lot
it's
nicer.
and then you add the
And it's
memory, and
like,
that's another $100. And then you add the cell, that's another 50. Yeah, it just starts mushrooming from there.
and then the next thing you know, you've got a
And the
fully loaded
keyboard.
iPad Pro. You know, and then I'm like, you know, I could justify 350 for this. I'm not going to justify $1,500 or whatever. And
Right.
so I end up not doing anything, you know.
But here is the thing though. But now, because I, you know, went the way that I got a Mac Studio because I wanted to have a desktop still, regardless. You have your laptop. Do you take your
Yeah.
laptop to the office?
Oh, my personal laptop? No.
Yeah.
I mean, I have my work laptop, obviously, but the only times I've ever taken my personal laptop to the office are when I like during election season when I knew I was going to take lunch off and do some election graphs during lunch.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
that's the only time I've done that because I've been hesitant. I mean, I've done it a few times anyway, but I'm hesitant to do that kind of stuff on my work laptop. Like I like to keep personal and work separate. So like, but that's been very rare. I think I've done it like twice ever where I've brought my personal laptop to work. Now, what I do all the time is like right now, as we're recording this podcast, I'm in my office. My laptop is hooked up to 3 27-inch screens and a bunch of external hard drives through a dock and a full-size keyboard, mouse, et cetera, et cetera. But I find myself now regularly, multiple times per week, undocking the laptop and working on it in the couch in the living room. You know, I do that all the time. You know, and because I can sort of hang out there, or like, and my son's watching TV or something, or I put on the news on the projector screen and blah blah blah. You know, I do that all the time. But you know, and look, I have honest questions of like, how often would I use the iPad? That's the problem. If I knew for sure I would use it all the time, then that's a different story. But like, I'm not sure, like, because last time I had an iPad, I sort of slowly used it less before it got too old and died anyway. And I've got the Pro Max size phone now, which is good for lots of stuff. So I don't know. And like, you know, I feel like if I did get an iPad again at some point, I would get the medium. Like I wouldn't get an iPad mini, and I wouldn't get like the 13-inch size. I'd get like the 11-inch size, the in between. You know, I feel like I would use it for some things, but I'm not sure I'd use it for a lot, which is why I'm like, you know, maybe one of the cheap ones. But then again,
the reason I need it is because of my travel. I don't want to be.
I don't have that. I don't have
exactly. I needed to get it because of my damn travel. I've been gone so much. I don't want to be doing personal shit on my work computer. Okay, at all. Okay, right. I want to avoid it. You know, I maybe get some message or something, but I don't do personal shit on my work computer. I mean, it just, you know.
And as we have discussed many times before, keeping those things as separate as possible is really smart.
Yes.
It's dumb. It's dumb not
it's dumb,
to.
It's dumb not to.
And you know, I admit I'm not perfect on that. You know, I've sort of slipped over time, but
I slip. Like sometimes it's rarely. Okay, I need to do something. I'll use my laptop, but there is some incidental usage, which I know with the company is perfectly fine. But I just don't. You know, I make a rule to not do it. It's just sometimes, you know, maybe I've logged onto an airline website. I needed to do it, and I had the laptop right there, and I needed to check on something, for example, or something like that. But I'm not reading news. I'm not, you know. I'm not doing stuff, or maybe I'll, you know, not, you know, I'm not accessing my bank. I'm not, you know, I'm not doing any of that stuff. Yeah. So
I probably do a little bit more than I should. But anyway, all right. Okay, we should move on to our real topics. I did want to say one additional thing first. Well, two. First, Pete, Greg, and Ed, I suck. I still have not done your postcards or sent the mug. I will.
We're gonna cut his salary like as soon as we can.
Yeah. So Pete and Greg, IO doing a postcard and then sending the postcard to Yvonne, so Yvonne can add his stuff and send it to you. Ed, I owe you a mug. Someday. Also, last week with Bruce, I mentioned that I'm near to the point of ready to do media reviews again, and I was hoping to do one this week, but I didn't finish like logging my stuff. So I'm not ready to do that yet. Maybe next week, we'll see. And that is it. Shall we take a break, Yvonne, and then come back and talk about our more newsy stuff? Breaky. Okay, here we go.
AlexandZilla.com. Being Alex and Dad. Gaming, videos, and more from Alex. Elementary school by day, YouTube by night. AlexandZilla.com. Alexandzilla is ALEXMXELA, and .com is period and then COM.
Okay, on the AlexandZilla.com subject for a second. There are new videos this week that have been posted. One of which was posted on February 6th about a snow day from a previous February 6th, exactly 8 years ago. So Alex made sure to edit the video of him and I playing in the snow from 8 years ago.
Jeez.
And made sure to schedule the posting to be exactly 8 years after the damn thing was recorded.
Wow.
And I will add to that, we had snow this week.
Yeah.
So we went out in the snow, also exactly 8 years from that previous video. In fact, the video posted while we were outside playing in the snow again.
Good Lord.
And not only that, he had us do activities to recreate what we had done in the video 8 years previously. Now, that was all, of course, recorded on video, which will probably be published. I doubt in another 8 years at the pace he's going, but maybe if you're lucky, it will be out in another 50 years if you come back and, you know, check in at that point when Alex is retired and catching up in that stuff and we're long dead. You know, but
oh, good Lord.
But anyway, and also I will add, he convinced me to post on my own YouTube channel.
Whoa!
But a very embarrassing video of me singing and dancing along to stuff on the Apple TV, including the very famous song "Hamster Dance." You know, on my YouTube channel. It's 6 minutes long, and
that sounds terrible.
And
that sounds...
I am neither a good singer nor a good dancer.
No.
I make some motions that, in retrospect, are regrettable. Some of which involved the dog, some of which involved a stuffed animal. Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, it's out there. So yeah, that's it. Okay, so Yvonne,
you know,
yes.
I'm gonna give a data point like right now. Great news for Donald Trump, according to the RCP average.
Oh yeah, his approval rating.
Oh yeah, the favorable, unfavorable. I have never seen anybody. Oh no, it's actually I guess it's actually, I guess it's improved. But compared to, I'm looking at the polls that are there. I'm noticing there's a big one with a +10. He seems to be like sliding back the other way, like about as. I don't think I've ever seen a slide from, because he came in with an approval, positive approval. At this point, but I think that he will go down, given where it is like right now. He's going down quite quick. He's at, it says +3.4, but RCP has very few. There's been very little of this. I saw in 538.
What's interesting too is usually they do favorability for people who are out of office, and they do approval rating for people who are in office. I've noticed 538 has a page up for approval ratings, but it's his last term. They don't have one up for this.
No. There is one in 538 for his term.
I just flipped to it. It's got very few though.
It's got very few. It's
got very few. They don't have a graph yet. The other thing they have.
No, there's a graph. I see it right here.
No. Sorry. Not they have that graph. What I meant.
Okay.
They on previous ones they had comparison graphs for all the other presidents.
Yes.
And they don't have that up yet. Like they had a little chart at the bottom where you could look at.
There was one that showed that he's
But the average there is still at a approval 49%.
It's still positive.
Disapprove 44.2. It's still
positive. Yeah.
Which if you
I think the one they compared, like Biden when he came into the last term, his positive was like +22. So he started off with a +4. Not exactly a pretty
Well, he started out at +8. He's down to a +4 already after 3 weeks.
Okay.
Four,
Yeah, so he went right. He started +8 is down to
Let me
+4.
not round. +8.2 initially. He's now +4.8.
Yeah.
So closer to 5 than 4, but yeah.
It's only been 2 weeks.
3. Well, almost 3.
Almost
3. 2.5.
It feels
Let's
like
call it
3 years. Fuck. Jesus Christ. What are we going to talk about? Do I got to choose?
You choose for if you want me to choose first, I can choose first. You know, it's okay. I mean, look, one easy way to divide it, if you wanted to.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
Well, first of all, we could try to avoid Trump entirely, but that's hard. But if we're going to do Trump stuff, we could divide it into things he's actually been doing, and then the reaction to it could be a separate segment, or we could like pick specific things. Like we could talk about tariffs or immigration or Elon Musk going into all the agencies or something like that. I don't know. What you want to do? You know, this is the kind of stuff that like other people would like plan before we start. But no, for us, no. We're doing it live.
Yeah, we're doing it live. Well, let's talk about, I guess. I think the number one thing right now is what is going on with the government, the federal employees in the government. Okay, all right, and Doge in general, and what they're trying to do. This is it's. Well, the first thing that they did, which they've been pushing hard, which all of a sudden a federal judge actually blocked a couple of days ago. Since the beginning, I had said, by the way, that the strategy, and I'd shared a link to one group that is being opposing legally many of these things that are happening. That number one strategy is to just start suing for everything. Okay, all right. This is the only good tactic that's available like right now. Is to fucking drag them into court. Okay.
Quick tangent here.
Yes.
And maybe we'll talk more about this later, maybe not.
Yeah.
But I just want to say how people like there's been so many criticisms about how people are reacting. Like we did ourselves like 2 weeks ago when we were talking about how the only Democrat who's responding well is AOC. Blah, 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 in terms of communication.
Yeah.
But and I feel that's true. And maybe the Democrats have stepped up a little bit in the last week or so in a way they hadn't before. But still, it's improving communications. And I hear lots of people going, "Why aren't you doing anything? Why aren't you doing it?" And I'm like, look, because you didn't vote them control of anything.
Right.
Basically, look, there's two things. You can make noise.
You can't even drag them. You can't even subpoena them to drag them into hearings.
No, you can't do anything. So there's communication strategy. You can make noise. And so I hear people saying, "Oh no, are you going to send them a sternly worded letter?" Well, fuck, that's about all they can do. I'm sorry.
Well, no,
I know. There's a bit more like you can be more effective in the communication than a sternly worded letter. You can do performative event. You can do protests, performative events. People have pointed out that in the Congress, you can pull out every possible procedural delay tactic you possibly can.
Correct.
You may not be able to stop things, but you can slow things down.
Yeah.
And you can also choose to be just oppose everything, like the McConnell style, just make everything fail.
Yeah.
As opposed to there's still a strand of the Democrats of, oh, well, let's find places where we can do bipartisan
fuck this shit. No, fuck this.
You've got certain Democrats voting for nominees and stuff like that.
This as just fuck that shit.
Yeah,
no.
I mean, but yeah,
this has to be right now scorched earth.
Yes, yeah. I don't. Every time I see one of those where it's like some one of his nominees, instead of being a party line vote, has like 60 votes or something. I'm like, what the fuck are those Democrats doing?
Right.
I don't care if it's
Not
a sort of
one
normie
vote.
like, I don't care if it's, and Rubio was nearly unanimous. You know, I don't care if he was a former senator and fairly normal. Like, oppose. Be a
Yeah.
damn opposition.
Right.
But yeah, so you can do more of those kinds of things. But otherwise, the main thing that's possible right now is lawsuits. And there are all sorts of groups, which you were about to talk about, and I'll let you get back to in a second, who are doing lawsuits. But and they, you know, they'll probably, a bunch of them go up to SCOTUS, and who knows what'll happen there given the current Supreme Court. It probably depends on the issue, but those are the things right now. The things that Democrats can do are make noise, slow things down a little bit in the legislature. States, blue states, can oppose in various ways, and lawsuits. And that's really it. So the people who are going like, why aren't you doing something? Why aren't you doing something? You're acting like everything is normal and you're just running for 2026 instead of like doing something. It's like, well, you didn't give him the House. You didn't give him the Senate. You didn't give him the presidency. The Supreme Court is 6-3 conservative majority. What the hell do you want them to do?
Right.
You know, right. and I know some of them are like, let's have a revolution already. But like, come on, that things, you know.
Well, a revolution when, okay, look, here's
those
the
go
reality.
South fast.
No, it's not that. The problem is not that. It's that, look, the majority of people, I know that we've had this discussion for a few times on our Slack. Oh no, it was stolen. Because people are saying this was stolen, this was whatever, and I'm like, listen, I'm sorry to say this, but the vote, the majority of fucking people that went to vote, even when you take into account all of this shit and whatnot, voted for this.
Yep,
that's the reality.
Narrowly, but yes,
narrowly, but they did. Yep. This is what they fucking voted for. You know,
you do also get, I mean, and I enjoy watching these videos as much as anybody, but I don't think any significant numbers are changing their minds yet. But you get videos of these, you know, they're calling them the fuck around and find out videos, right? Where it's like some Trump voter who now is already within the first 3 weeks suffering consequences from the fact that Donald Trump is in charge.
Yeah.
The most I've seen several with people who are being rounded up by immigration services or their family members are. The most recent one that's been going around are a couple of farmers who were reliant on aid that has been frozen by Musk and his company and are like, I'm going to lose my fucking farm. And it's like, well, sorry,
listen,
dude.
The one thing is, but I do think that one of the things that's very interesting about all these videos is that these people, you know, these people are upset because they took away something from them directly.
Yes. And I know
it's all about the selfish prick vote. Okay.
And I've seen a few videos calling this out as well, including one you shared on the Curmudgeon's Corner Slack, Yvonne, but others as well. That all of this, and this comes back to the core issue of empathy, which I think underlies a lot of American politics right now.
Yes.
Is there's just apparently half of the voting public who
has no empathy. Yes.
Every decision is about, well, how will it affect me?
Yeah.
And if it's not them, it doesn't even cross their mind. Like, oh, this is going to screw this other group that I'm not a part of. Well, why would I care about that? You know,
not just why do I care about that? I hate that group because they're maybe taking something from me.
Right. Whereas then all of a sudden on a whole bunch of these videos and just not just videos, I've seen stories about it in other places, you know, it's suddenly the Trump policy is affecting them. directly, or their
Right.
family directly, and then they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh my God, this isn't what I voted for." And it's like, you didn't think it would be you jackass.
Right. Yes.
Like,
You
there
know,
is not a single
they
thing
called you
Donald
out
Trump.
by name, and you didn't think it was going to be you.
There's not a single thing Donald Trump has been doing so far that he did not completely telegraph during the campaign.
Correct. Yes.
Like, nobody should be surprised about a fucking thing.
Yeah.
So I've heard people say, well, I didn't have time to read all that stuff. I didn't have time to research it. Blah. Well, fuck you. I'm sorry. Like, the information was out there.
It was repeated over and over. And then you said that the Democrats were all lying.
Yes, that's the other thing. It's like, oh, you're lying. That's not true. He has nothing to do with Project 2025. None of that stuff is real. He just says that. He's loud and blustery, but he won't actually do that.
Right.
He was president before, and we were fine. So anyway. So back to Elon Musk. Lawsuits are one of the ways that Democrats can actually fight.
It's really the only good tool that they have at their disposal.
It's the only thing that isn't just talk.
Right.
Essentially.
It is the only thing, and it's the only one that has teeth in any way, shape, or form. And because as much as the reason is, when you get a court order like that, as much as people say, oh man, they're just ignoring it or whatever. Listen, ignoring it always has consequences, down the road. You can't just, it's hard. It becomes hard. And so
it does become hard, but I think one of the open questions that we're still in very early days is, does the Trump administration try to push these things hard in terms of ignoring and or just like trying to actively get around some of these court orders? I think, like, in some cases already, it seems like they've given lip service to the court order, changed a couple things, but then tried to keep doing it anyway in a different way, and then only to be slapped down again by the next court order. And the question is how hard they push. Do we ever get to that point where the Trump administration explicitly says, we're ignoring that? So far, no. So far, no, but I think that's what everybody's worried about, right? Because if you get to that point, then you have the true constitutional crisis.
Yes.
And frankly, like I mentioned the 6-3 court before, there's a chance by the time this gets to the court, Trump will win a lot of these. The court has signaled,
but that's not true, Sam. The reality is that a lot of these decisions that have not been about religious or faith or whatever stuff. The reason why many people were pissed off at this court right now is because you had Amy Coney Barrett, and they've been calling her a traitor, not voting for them on this shit.
To be absolutely clear, I said they may win a lot of these, not all of them. And I think one of the things that they've explicitly said is part of their strategy is they want to throw tons and tons and tons of these into the court system, get them up to SCOTUS. And if there's 600 of them and they lose 500 and win 100, they're going to be happy with the 100 they won.
I don't know. They had won like, I don't know how many. They lost one and they were pissed beyond belief.
Well, they will, of course, be pissed at everyone. Well, and then the question is, will they ignore SCOTUS even then? But here's the thing. Like, it depends on which ones too, right? Like, and one of the things the court has signaled that they like the current 6-3 majority, or at least 5 of the majority, are hot on the unitary executive kind of thing. They like executive power. They like giving the executive more than they used to. There have been a number of rulings in that direction over the last couple years. And so not 100% consistently. There are a few counter examples. And it also does appear to depend on who's president. So I don't know that they're completely consistent. Like there's some rulings that have stripped power from the executive, but it was while Biden was president. And would they have ruled the same way if it was Trump doing the same thing? I am not convinced that they would. Like it would be nice to think it would be consistent, but I don't know that it is.
I think, listen, the one that I think that where it gets that, listen, the reality is that we don't know exactly what's going to happen. But the one thing is,
and it may take a while.
It may take a while. But the one thing is that the number one strategy that they have to do is every single thing that they're doing, they have to challenge the legality of it. Okay. All right.
The Democrats need to learn from Donald Trump himself.
Yes.
Delay. Like Donald Trump was such a master of this. I mean, he made things that normally in routine cases are settled in a day.
Drag out years.
Yes. Or at least months for the
or at least step. Months.
Yeah, and just through taking advantage of every single procedural opportunity.
You have to throw every fucking lawyer that you got with every fucking bullshit thing, that every little tiny thing. You want to drag every single Doge guy and Elon Musk and all of those into depositions, into things. You want to fucking make their lives miserable in court. Yes. And grab it, put it through the chipper on every single one, like that asshole said, the other day about USAID. The guy is a disgusting fucking prick. By the way, Vladimir
what the
Putin's,
guy was, people might not know.
The biggest major asshole we've got right now operating, fucking Elon Musk. He is such a dirtbag. I really hate him so much.
You're adding him to the list with Donald Trump, with people you're willing to openly hate.
Yes.
Yeah. No.
And Putin. Putin's on that list.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
It's a pretty distinctive list. What I've got, the three people I've got is fucking Putin, Trump, and Elon Musk.
Yeah, I mean, look, all these cases are, I'm not all of them, but the strategy is almost explicitly, look, we're going to do things that seem to be clearly illegal, but we're, the traditional way that administrations have done this stuff before is, at the very least, when they do something that is on the edge, they have, the Office of Legal Counsel or whatever write up a document with some justification for why it's really legal.
Right.
And then they go do it. Now, the office, it may, sometimes those justifications are pretty weak, but they do something. They do something to say, here's why it's legal. And then they do it. And then someone takes them to court. And then the court decides and sometimes overturns it. The Trump strategy seems to be, fuck that. We're just going to do what we want. And the burden is on whoever doesn't like us to take us to court about it. And then we'll worry about it. We're not going to try to figure that stuff out first. We're not going to try to justify in advance. We're just going to do what we want to do and then let them try to stop us.
Right. Yeah.
And look, here's the problem with that is, from our point of view, is legal stuff is relatively slow in the end. Now they're within the first few weeks, there are already some temporary restraining orders. There's some preliminary injunctions. For the most obvious one, like this birthright citizenship stuff is on hold.
Yeah.
There a lot of there have been judges saying, no, Elon's team can't go into these agencies. They can't do this. They can't do that.
Well, today a judge completely blocked them and told them to actually destroy all the data they had captured from Treasury, like a judge ordered that today.
Right. Yeah, I saw that. And the question is on all of these things, um, is speed. And
Yes.
what
Yes.
and how can, like, because traditionally the court system, as we saw with the Donald Trump cases,
It's slow.
is very, very slow. So I think part of the Trump plan is do enough damage so that by the time anybody even tries to stop you, it's already done.
Yes,
Like for
and yeah. So
like
then they'll they'll have to
let's talk about
rebuild it.
USA.
But I think that they'll have to rebuild it the way that they want to, which is what I think that they did with USAID. Because
Yes.
Marco Rubio is one that has for years advocated for USAID shit, but now they want it to be reconstituted under the Secretary of State, basically under the State Department. And Rubio, they just wanted to do things the way that they want. So, hey, we get rid of everybody because we are doing this purity test of everybody. So let's not even do the purity test. Let's just fucking fire them all. And then we'll be forced to rehire a whole bunch of them because, probably we did this illegally. And then we'll just bring back we'll bring back the ones that we want. And then we'll just, pay off the ones that we don't want back. It seems to me that that's the ultimate strategy because the funding isn't going to take away. The legal framework is forcing it to exist. So it seems like it's their entire MO for this shit.
Yeah, and this is exactly the point here, is like they can do what they've done with USAID, for instance, then lose all the court cases and still end up with what they wanted at the end.
Yeah.
Like they will still have the impact they wanted even after they lose the cases, because by the time this makes its way through court, there will be facts on the ground. Like even now, like right now, all of these USAID people have been told they're fired essentially. Now there's a court order saying there's a court order. Yeah, but here there's a court order saying no, you can't do that. But if you're one of those employees, what are you doing right now?
Nothing. You're twiddling your thumbs and getting paid. That's it.
You're twiddling your thumbs. You're getting paid. They're definitely.
But all the work was stopped.
All the work was stopped. All the work was stopped. It's not going to resume. Even if there are court orders that happen, these people are, any sense that they might have had about job security has gone. So they're all looking for other opportunities anyway. You have already broken the agency, regardless of what happens from this point out.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
And this is true. Like the other big one where this is happening right now is FBI, and DOJ for that matter. They're doing purges. They're gathering lists of anybody who had anything to do with the January 6th investigations, no matter how minor. There have been lawsuits on this and injunctions from judges as well in terms of where this list can go and blah, blah, blah. But what have you done? The entire agency is fucking scared.
Yeah.
The entire agency is frozen in place because they don't know what their futures are. They don't know what they're doing. And they're also clearly, the message is out there loud and clear that no, if you just do your job and like try to do things based on the law and the established procedures that have existed for decades, rather than follow the political orders no matter what, then you're fucked, And so, I mentioned this to Bruce last week. The result of this is not going to be a smaller, less powerful FBI.
No, it's the one that they want.
It's going to be a probably even more powerful FBI that, instead of holding to any general principles of law and accountability and transparency and blah, blah, blah,
it's just beholden to,
is all about just go after the people Trump wants you to go after.
Well, there's one thing today in the news where Trump apparently is very displeased that that despite all the redirection and effort on immigration, and the reason I bring it up is because they told a whole bunch of FBI agents to stop doing criminal stuff and focus on immigration, and they're all like, what the fuck are we supposed to do about this? I mean, it's like, you're like, what the hell? You want me to stop investigating actual crimes, and focus on immigration and do what exactly? And so that was one thing, but that Trump is very displeased that the deportation numbers are not higher, which is something that we have said already. I don't know how many fucking times. Okay, that it's just mathematically.
Well, there are a couple of things here. One,
Just,
apparently arrest numbers are up a little bit, but deportation numbers less so, because they don't have the resources to actually make some of these people leave. So they're actually releasing a
whole bunch of these people. Yes.
So
by the way, this was what was tried, a lot of what they're trying to give him the funding, and what Biden had done with the Republicans, that they came up with this compromise deal, blah, 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 that Trump blocked. And so they haven't done any of that. It's not like they multiplied the people. The problem is, as we've said before, Biden is letting everyone in. No, Jesus Christ, the deportation machine under Biden was in full fucking force. It's just a lot of people. What you guys want to do is almost humanly impossible to do.
Also, I will add, the Donald Trump folks have been on TV and stuff once again saying things like, look, yes, everybody who's in here undocumented is potentially subject to deportation. But of course, we are going to concentrate on the criminals and the violent people and blah, blah, blah. The percentage of people being arrested that have any sort of criminal issue associated with them,
it was less than 50% that I recall.
Well,
that I saw
more so, that percentage is down from the Biden administration because they're pushing to get the overall arrest and deportation.
Right, because they want the numbers up. We need to fucking pump the numbers.
And actually, the number of actual criminals is relatively small compared to the number of overall undocumented immigrants. That the only way to get the numbers up is to arrest more people
that are criminals.
Yes, and so yes, so far.
Basically, it's very, you can't do something that is completely based on a lie.
Yeah, and so they have not yet succeeded in pushing numbers to significantly higher than where they were happening under Biden anyway. Now they're going to keep trying. As you said, Trump is mad. Trump is redirecting like FBI and other federal agencies to help with this.
And they're like, what the fuck are we supposed to do, man?
And the end result...
here's a worse thing, right? That one of the unions that is always shown to be pro-Trump is the CBP folks. Okay? Those people are pro-Trump. Now, just imagine this that happens right now. Say that he starts doing the same thing that he did with the other areas and starts like a purge of these guys, right? And saying, you guys are not doing what I want. I'm going to fucking get rid of you. What that's going to do is that the morale of this entire group is going to go into the shitter, because they go in and they were pro him. They were trying to do as much as he wants. We're trying out there. We're doing it. And now you're going to shit all over us. Okay. Because we can't do what's impossible. Okay. All right. Based on the resources that we've got. Okay.
By the way, it's not like ICE and these other agencies are full of
oh my God,
liberals who are all
exactly
about, let's let everybody in and be nice.
Yeah, they're not full of bleeding heart liberals. Okay, all right, you people, you're fucking deluded. Okay, so the one thing that I
not the FBI either, by the way.
Just not the FBI either. So which is one of the things that's so crazy. This reminds me of what the hell happened in the Soviet Union every time that especially Stalin had tried to force the people in the fields to grow more and basically just punish them or push it because they weren't meeting his they set these agriculture quotas that were almost fucking impossible, and then they were like forcing them to try to do it. And then what happened was production didn't go up; it actually started going down because you know these people were like actually faithful or whatever. And then what you're doing is you're shitting all over them because what you asked to do is impossible. And so at one point they're like, "Well, fuck you. That's it. Bring somebody else. Fuck you. Can't do it." And so I don't know what the hell, but yeah, he's gonna be pissed. But I don't see how anything really changes related to this at this point, like right now. I mean, because they went out and already in full force and they deployed everybody. Hey, you had all these like famous people like wearing like ice stuff.
Dr. Phil.
Yeah, Dr. Phil and oh my God, going out there. There was one operation where I saw where they said 400 people to one place. You know how many people they caught?
One, I believe.
Yes, correct. One. Very productive use of resources.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Oh God. I hate this. We got how much more time of this fucking administration do we have?
Oh, let's see. There are a number of websites tracking this. Trump timer. Let's see if I can find one real quick. Trump countdown timer. 1,441 days, 21 hours, 42 minutes, and 25 seconds as we're recording this.
I will openly declare right now that my alcohol consumption this year has been far higher than it's been in any recent year.
Okay.
I by the way, I don't drink that much anymore as I used to. Okay. But definitely it because and that's my point. I was barely drinking. And now I'm like, 8 drinks a week. From almost like 2 drinks a week or 1 or 0, maybe.
Right.
This is not good.
That's a big increase.
Yes. Now, it's better than when I was younger when I would I drink 8 drinks in one day regularly. So, relatively speaking, this is a massive improvement.
Well, there you go. Yeah. So, okay. We started out, and we've taken a tour of all kinds of different things, but we started out specifically talking about Elon and Doge going into things. Do we want to get back to that? Anything more to say about that? I think
listen, we did go specifically into what the strategy is and what they want to do and what the outcome is. I don't think that there is anything more to say about it. That is what they're going to try to do.
Well,
I think we covered it pretty.
The one thing I'll add, though, is as far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong on this, most of the court orders coming down are narrow. Like, okay, you have to undo what you did at the
there is one lawsuit that is actually just
trying to shut them down entirely. Because
yes, correct. There is Crew did file, and it's been filed a few weeks, and they've got like they've got a lot of people that signed it. Citizens for Responsible and Ethics in Washington, by the way, if you want to donate to them.
That's what Crew is.
That's what Crew is. But they've got the American Public Health Association, American Federation of Teachers, Vote Vets Action Fund. And they filed basically a suit, basically seeking the court to just absolutely just stop Doge on its tracks. Now it's been out there for a couple of weeks. Yes,
because what's happened so far is they've been stopped from doing specific things in specific places, but overall their response to that is, okay, well, we'll just go do this somewhere else right now.
Correct.
And and look, to be clear, let's be explicit here. The problem here is not the general idea of, hey, let's look at government and try to eliminate things that Yeah, well, even eliminate things that just there's a policy disagreement from the president, or certainly not efficiencies and things like that. The problem is there is a mechanism to do that. It is
Right.
relating to, you look, the Republicans have both houses of Congress.
They
Go
could,
pass some,
go pass some
fucking
legislation.
laws.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Go.
Yeah.
You want to eliminate USAID?
Go legislate and eliminate
USAID.
Exactly.
You have the mechanism to do that. You have both houses of Congress. Okay, yeah, you might need to eliminate the filibuster in the Senate to do it, but you could do it.
You could do that.
You could do that. You could and same thing here for all of these massive cuts elsewhere. The problem is what these agencies are doing is, for the most part, what is required by law.
Right.
And also meeting obligations that they have already entered into. So there's also flexibility in terms of saying, okay, like the grants on health research and stuff like that. It's one thing to say we're going to put a pause on approving new ones. It's another thing entirely to say we're
cut
not
off funding the ones that were already approved.
Right. That's different, and the legal obligations associated are different, and so there's a lot of stuff here. Like I said, the approach here is do what you want first and let them try to stop you. But there's so much here where it's like, we're not trying to change the policy for the future. We're trying to put a wrecking ball through everything that's already there that is just executing the law as it exists today.
Right.
And that's the, look, I'd have if they were trying to do it the legal way, I would oppose it anyway. Most of these things are bad ideas. That, like, USAID is actually incredibly valuable.
Here's one thing. USAID was something that was valued by both Republicans and Democrats alike. And the main reason is because it's one of the instruments of soft diplomacy that we do around in order to counter both Putin and China, in general, in these countries. And the reality is that the number one advocate that wanted to fucking shut down fucking USAID was fucking Vladimir Putin. And most of the shit that they have been spreading about why USAID sucks is fucking Russian propaganda. And these guys are so fucking dumb. Now, I know that Marco Rubio knows that it's fucking Russian propaganda because I know that he talked about it. But right now, Marco Rubio, as the major fucking ass kisser that he is, he has shoved his head so far up their asses that he's not going to say anything right now about this and just going to let him do a fucking wrecking ball over something that I know he knows, is what Vladimir Putin wants. But he is such a fucking ass kisser that he's not going to do anything to oppose it right now.
Right. And like you said, maybe on the back end, he tries to keep some things going. Like already,
actually, I'm pretty sure that he's going to keep most of the shit going.
Well, one thing that's already been in the news is George W. Bush's, what is it called? PFAR, whatever, the anti-AIDS program.
Right.
That's one of the things where Rubio has already been out there saying, no, that's one of the things that has an exception. That can keep going. That can keep going. That can keep going. Meanwhile, reports from the field is that
they cut it? Right. They've stopped it.
They've stopped it because of the general guidance, but that's clearly something Rubio wants to keep going again.
Right.
We'll see how that goes, whether he can stand it back up again. But again, it's about, once they've destroyed it, they have to try rebuilding the specific things they care about.
Yes.
And by the way, Rubio might like that program. Who knows if Donald Trump does?
Right. He might just fucking kill more Africans. Fuck it. Yeah. He's like, let him die.
Why do we?
Why do we care? Why do we care about a whole bunch of black people in Africa? Fuck them. That may be. By the way, this is me quoting Trump. Please do not quote me out of context. Okay.
Hypothetically quoting Trump. You don't. Hypothetically.
I'm sure he's probably said something like that.
Shithole countries and all. Yes. But yeah, like the fundamental calculus there is, well, and this is part of the response too. USAID targeting it is a strategically good first place for something like Doge to go to.
Well, because it's very small relatively compared to
it's
other
relatively
agencies.
small, but also foreign aid is unpopular. Right. If you just poll people, like
foreign aid, no, leave the money here.
Right, like the reasons why this is actually good for American interests are more complicated and subtle. It's like it's like, yes, making people like us more in other countries by helping them does come back with positive benefits to us in the end. I've heard people who are involved in the State Department and USAID giving interviews over the last few days talking about how, for instance, various programs that we've done overseas have resulted in massive intelligence gains for us because people were more willing to cooperate to give information than they would be otherwise, because they're like, hey, the Americans are actually our friends, and they're good. They helped us. We'll help them.
This is the soft diplomacy part. Okay, all right. This is deployment of soft power
and
for all of this, diplomatic purposes.
All of this, by the way, is still, if you're only willing to look at it from a purely instrumental, how does it help me point of view, completely ignoring the actual benefits to people.
To the people, right. I mean, that's the point. So,
okay.
I mean, yeah.
So given that we started talking about USAID, I suggest we take another break. And most of the stuff we've been talking about so far has been domestic. Let's just make it a domestic versus international division and talk about international for a bit, and then wrap up the show. Sound good?
Sure.
Okay. So here comes another break, and then we'll do that. Back after this. Yeah.
Well, you can edit this out. I'm gonna go get coffee and water. I'll be right back.
Oh, okay. Enjoy your.
Why
would I edit this out? We all want to know that you're getting coffee. I could go get a tea, but no. I'll just wait here.
Give me a fucking break. I'm getting too old for this shit.
Here's the break.
Okie dokie. Here it comes. It is just my internet being stupid.
My internet is being stupid. It is a new song we will make. I'm tired. What's wrong? I'm really tired.
It's amazing.
To get the show on the road.
There's a road? There's a road? Oh my God, there's a road.
Okay, now we'll wait for Yvonne to be back with his coffee. For anybody who's watching the live stream, nobody's watching the live stream live, but in case you're watching later, we're just going to sit here for a little bit. This will be probably not in the audio version.
Here we go. Okay. All right. Good deal. Okay.
Okay, we are back, and Unfortunately, this means we missed Yvonne laughing at that break that he usually laughs at.
Listen, yeah, you couldn't hear me laughing, but yes, I was listening to it because my headphones on and they were still working. I'm like, oh my god, enough. This fucking freak.
Maybe we got to do more of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so internationally, like real quick, do we own Greenland yet?
Let me check. No.
How about the
And
Panama
Puerto Rico?
Canal?
Puerto Rico has not been sold to Denmark either. I'm really
No.
disappointed. I was like really rooting for that.
Do we
I
have
have
the
to be
Panama
honest.
Canal yet?
Not that I know of. No. How are egg prices, Sam?
I hear they're up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, something about the bird flu, but like I think CDC did finally get to put out an update, but they pulled some stuff. They put up one thing about cats and then had to take it back down. I don't know what's going on there. Like, so I guess I don't know. Something.
Did we I heard that we were going to pass a balanced budget. Did we do that?
Oh, is that happening? I heard
Trump
that
said
Yeah.
that we were going to pass a balanced budget.
Oh.
Did we?
I don't think that's happened yet, but I did see some news that they're quote unquote making progress towards a budget deal. Because we've got deadlines coming up really
Well,
soon.
listen, the
don't
debt
we?
ceiling thing is they're already using like the
Extraordinary measures.
extraordinary measures thing like right now. So yeah, like right now, yeah, we're in that window like right now.
I think the last estimate I heard was sometime in March we hit the debt ceiling, even with the extraordinary measures.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah,
and the
it's
deal
coming
where
up soon.
And the deal where they punted the spending authorization stuff that prevented government shutdown also, I believe, expires in March, right?
By the way, gas prices are up.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Huh.
Imagine that. From a month ago, yeah.
Well, we were going to talk international. Before I get to the one that caused the biggest splash this week, do we have a 51st state yet?
No.
No.
Canada isn't part of the. Canada has not been annexed. No, not that I know of.
Yeah, he's gonna have to get on that.
Yeah,
anyway,
he's gonna have to get on that pretty quick.
The big
the average
splash.
regular price,
the
price of regular gas right now is 3.196 cents for regular. Let's see, it is higher than it's been the last few months, but it's lower than it was 2022.
Well, how
it
does
is
it
a lot
compare?
higher than 2021.
How does it compare to same time each of the last few years? Because I got
3.196. January, let's see, last year's 3.197, so it's about the same. 3445 2023, 3413 2022. Now 2021 2.420, 2020 2.636.
Okay.
I mean, during the Trump administration, it was lower, 2.057 to 2. It was in the mid $2 range during that time. But here's the thing: you go back to shit. I mean, they give you a year, for example. I remember gas was super expensive. 2008. That was like the last year of W. Bush's term. It was at the same price as now, which inflation adjusted is way higher than this. Like right now,
right?
We had very expensive gas during the Bush administration. And then when the Great Recession started, it dropped like significantly, and then it picked back up between 2010 and 11 and 12, and then 2015 it dropped this last year of Obama, and it stayed relatively low for the next few years. But one of the things the reason why a lot of that happened was because gas demand was going down. So it's a supply and demand thing. Heaven forbid, Sam. I know it's like shocking.
Imagine that. Now we were saying that this segment was mostly international, so I was running through the countries.
Well, gas comes up.
It comes from places.
Yes.
Yeah, it comes from places.
Yeah.
No, but the big splash this week was not Greenland or Panama or any of that. It was
Tamu!
Gaza. Yes.
Oh.
Yes. It was Gaza. It was Gaza.
So what happened, Sam? Trump. Well, before we get to Gaza,
Yes.
is a war in Ukraine over?
Oh, the war in Ukraine. No, that's not over. In fact,
Does it look like it's anywhere close to being over?
In fact, this morning I just saw news that Zelensky has announced that Ukraine has resumed a new offensive push into Kursk.
Yes, I've heard that apparently that the Russians have not been able to.
They've made new advancements and taken over more Russian territory.
Yes.
Now, having said that, within Ukraine, Russia has continued to creep and get a little bit more territory each month, but we are talking a little bit.
Right.
It's basically still a stalemate. The Kursk thing is that basically Zelensky wants as much of Russia in his hands as possible if they are forced into negotiations.
I think it's a brilliant strategy.
Yeah. So
I think it's a brilliant strategy. I can't argue with that at all.
Now the thing, speaking of Donald Trump and his transactional self, has been reported.
Wait, the thing this week, yes, the rare earth deal.
Yes. So basically, Trump is saying to Zelensky now, actually, we might continue to support you in this war in exchange for your minerals and rare earths.
I'm like, okay. And Zelensky was like, sure, let's make a deal. Why not?
Yeah. And because also by the way, Donald Trump's what he has proposed for a deal. Actually, I'm going to choke while I'm saying on this. Isn't all bad.
No,
okay.
I was shocked too. I have to think. Listen, I got to tell you something. Marco Rubio must have come up with this. Trump was not smart enough to come up with this. No fucking way.
Well, it's not just the mineral rights, but also, we've said for a long time we said this the first week after the invasion and then sort of backed off it a little bit. And now we're coming back to it, is like, as much as we don't like it, in the end of this is probably going to be Russia taking some territory.
But not as much if you've got a piece of Russia on one side and if you make a mineral deal on the other end.
Right. But the other thing that Donald Trump is adding, is that, okay, no NATO membership. However, part of a peace deal would be Western NATO troops all over Ukraine.
So
we'll bring in troops from Western Europe.
We'll
have bases, and basically
as
a deterrent.
I'm like, if I'm Zelensky, I'm like, where the fuck do I side? Where the fuck do I side for this deal? I'm like, look, if I were me, I would do what I've done to other people when they've made an offer like this, but they don't put it in writing. Okay, yeah. I've actually gone and put it in writing. Yeah. I've gone, oh, you offered all of this? Perfect. All of a sudden, I'm calling a fucking lawyer. I'm like, draft this whole fucking thing. Just put it on a paper. Just take everything he said. Oh, he offered to get you. It's beautiful. And I'm like, here, look. Where do we sign? Where do we sign? Can we get the sign? Sometimes that works, by the way. It's worked, okay? Because you're just taking whatever he says. It's just fucking, yeah, go. Yes.
So far as I can tell, no interest from Putin. But the other report is that Trump and Putin are close to organizing a summit that will happen sometime soon. So we'll see what happens.
Well, have these two guys jerk themselves off on a global stage. Fantastic fucking event that we all are just waiting to see. Fucking Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Okay, Gaza.
Hey, so
Yes.
did the people in Dearborn get their savior in Trump? Or did they get what we told them during the fucking campaign when we repeated, hey, did you hear that Jared Kushner basically said that he wants to like ethnically cleanse the whole fucking place and build condos? Which one is the one that is getting the most traction right now?
Interesting. You know, Donald Trump apparently promised these folks in Dearborn peace, but didn't say how.
How?
Other people, even before the election on Trump's team, I forget which one it was, but somebody on the campaign, like at an off moment, like accidentally said, why don't we just nuke the whole place? You know.
Yes, I remember that one. Yeah, just nuke it.
I forget who exactly said it, but
such people with such I mean the outpouring of just empathy and love, just such a big heart that they show to the poor suffering people. It's just nothing.
So of course the thing that happened this week is Trump at a dual press conference with Netanyahu at the White House brought up the idea of like the and by the way, apparently it has been reported he did not tell Netanyahu this before the
Oh no shit, really? Like I really needed to know. Yeah, like I couldn't have guessed that one.
So he goes and he says, yeah, we're gonna take over Gaza. After all the people move out, of course, and we will flatten it. We will like build the best development you've ever seen. It will be wonderful. It will be the Riviera of the Middle East, etc. And of course, like all the people they can go, like Egypt and Jordan, they'll take them, I'm sure. Of course, hasn't talked to those folks either. And look, here's the thing. First of all, he has repeatedly actually used the word clean in association with this. This is 100% ethnic cleansing.
Yes.
Which violates numerous international laws on the face of it.
Wait. I'm sorry. What?
Yeah,
really?
No, it's shocking.
So you can't. So let me get this straight. If we take, I mean, how many Palestinians are in Gaza? I'm not even sure.
2 million-ish.
So I think 2 million. So if we forcibly relocate 2 million Palestinians to build condos, that's illegal?
I'm sure they would all leave voluntarily, Yvonne.
You think? I mean, you don't think that they're just going to, we say, hey, we show up in these trains and like we just pack them in like cattle and we ship them off to Egypt? They're not going to be just thankful?
That actually brings up like if you are going to even seriously consider the possibility of like, hey, let's just give these folks a home elsewhere. Okay. Just to be clear, I'm not saying this is a good idea anyway, but if you were going to take it seriously, you would produce a voluntary option and you would provide, like, here's what Donald Trump would do if he was serious about this. He would say, okay, look, here's the situation. Any Palestinian who wants to,
they can come to the U.S.
is free to come to the U.S. immediately, and we will provide relocation support to get you settled in the United States with a path to citizenship, an
Hey, let me ask you a
accelerated
question.
path to
How
citizenship.
popular would that be with his voters?
Well,
I don't
how
know. I'm just
popular would that be
spitballing
with
here.
Donald? You know, I
Well, listen, remember, he's very transactional. So therefore, he could be like, because depending on what's on the other end, because if he thinks for some reason, I don't know, I guess he thinks that this is like really how high value real estate, oceanfront.
yeah. Well, I joked with Bruce last week, but I'll bring it up again. You could give the Gazans Cleveland.
I mean, I listen. I don't think
That's
even
your
the
new
guy-
homeland.
I mean, I know one thing. If they were offering me, I'm in Puerto Rico, they're gonna fucking offering me, hey, we'll take you out of there. We're gonna say, ship you off to fucking Cleveland. I'm fucking like, listen, I'll fucking live in a goddamn floating raft in the middle of the ocean before I'm fucking living in Cleveland. I'll tell you that. I'll fucking just, build a raft out of fucking like the Cubans do when they cross over, worth out of flotsam and whatever the fuck. I'll put it together, tie it together, boom. I'm living on the ocean. Fuck Cleveland.
But like,
sorry, Cleveland. Sorry, people from Cleveland.
But look, here's the thing: the way to do that would be, yes, provide the incentives, provide a path out of there, and provide support, and provide like even how like, hey, we will pay you to leave Gaza. Now, this is a bad idea for a number of reasons anyway. But but if you were going to do that a purely voluntary, incentivized way, where you and pay people for the land you're taking from them as well, by the way, pay them full value for whatever.
The reason BB loved this, of course. Listen, I'm sitting there, and if I'm BB, of course I'm loving this, is because he took completely all the heat off of me. He just completely took all the fucking heat off of me.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, just I'm sure that BB walked out of there and he was like, holy shit, this trip was genius. It couldn't have gone any better if I had ever planned it.
Oh yeah. And look, there are a number, like one of the conservative members who'd left the coalition with BB was like, hey, if this deal happens, I can be back in.
Exactly.
Look, because basically the ultimate goal of the right wing in Israel is to fully annex West Bank and the Gaza Strip anyway.
Right, correct.
They want to kick the Palestinians out and take that over as part of Israel, with an Israeli population, with a Jewish population, not with the people who live there right now.
Right, and the goal of Hamas is to do the opposite to the Israelis. It's like I look at fucking Jesus fucking Christ. Jesus, I love this shit.
Yeah, but look, nothing like what I said of like a purely voluntary incentivized thing. That's not what's on the table.
No. We're talking about, geez.
And by the way,
forcibly.
With Trump's initial comments, it very much seemed like he was like, BB will invite me in and we'll go clear out Gaza. But all his staff and everybody, and him and a post on Truth Social had to clarify like 24 hours later. Oh, no. U.S. troops won't be necessary because we will take over after BB ends the war.
Look, this is not going to happen. I mean, as much as it's just one of these fucking like idiotic spitballs that he has in the middle of fucking something that he thinks is some kind of brilliant brainstorm. But the one thing that did happen with this is it shows the complete disregard and disdain he has for the Palestinian people. If you guys weren't sure of it before, because obviously many people weren't, now he made it crystal clear to all of you, okay, that he basically values them at zero.
Yep.
And BB is thrilled because Donald just completely took like a massive amount of heat that he had been getting over all this shit off of his plate and sent it Trump's way.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going back and he's like, genius.
Yeah. So I agree. I cannot see like an actual future where it's like, oh yeah, the U.S. is occupying Gaza a year from now.
Listen,
Like,
listen.
of
People
course,
people have short people. Well, I mean, I know I say short memories. This was a long time ago.
yes.
I mean, but look. I mean, I remember when we sent troops to Lebanon
Yeah.
to try to keep the peace. And how did that go, Sam? Do you remember?
I believe there was a bombing and Ronald Reagan got the hell out of there.
Yes, there was a massive bombing at the Marine barracks that killed a lot of Marines. And after that happened, we're like, well, we're out of here. Exactly. Just said, that's it. That did not go well. It did not go well in Iraq when we occupied it either. Okay? It really didn't go all that well in Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's not going to go well in Palestine either. In Gaza. It's insane. It's an insane plan. Did we say this? Did I mention this? Oh, by the way, it's a fucking insane plan.
By the way, any scenario where foreign peacekeepers end up working in the end, the country
It can't be us.
Well, it can't be us, and the country in question also has to fundamentally, they really do have to be sovereign. They need to be the ones making the decisions in the end. It can't be a scenario where we're coming in, for instance, and saying, no, we're in charge.
Right.
No.
Yeah,
It has to be, we could help, like, I don't know, like maybe we can help in some ways. But here's fundamentally the thing. If anything, the last year plus in Gaza has resulted in Hamas having more support within Gaza than they did before, not less.
Hamas, that's not totally accurate. I saw many people that were also fed up with Hamas because of how they dragged them into it. The fact that they wouldn't close a deal on this. Okay, the fact that there was a peace offer over and over. I think that you're in a kind of a situation here also where yes, they're pissed off at the Israelis.
All I'm saying is if you had an election, Hamas would still win.
I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true. The last time I saw something on polling on the ground,
not like
on them,
poll,
but on where not like a regular poll, but the one where getting sent to, but people were really angry at Hamas, and the anger had been building over time because there's no resolution, there was no end game. Okay, all right. It's the same thing as was happening to Bibi on his end. Okay, at first, a lot of Israelis were supportive, but as time went on, why his position became very untenable is because people were like, "Oh, what the fuck? We keep fighting, we keep killing people keep dying, and we're not getting anywhere. What the fuck is going on?" And so you had the flip side on their side too, where people were also getting fed up. Now that there's a ceasefire, that may be a different story. But it got to a point, I know, that especially because you got two things. On one end, I mean, Israel did kill a lot of the Hamas leadership that was there. Okay,
yes,
all right,
absolutely.
Which that really weakened their position overall in general. But at the same time, people were getting pissed that there were multiple ceasefire offers that kept coming up, and they weren't closing. And so you had the situation on both sides where both were unhappy with their leadership about this because this fucking ceasefire. And I'll tell you that a lot of the reason I understood that the ceasefire finally happened is because of also the discontent on the Palestinian side about that this thing isn't ending. So I don't know what happens if there's an election because of that. Maybe like right now because there is peace or whatever.
Just to be clear, that's a hypothetical anyway. There's not going to be an election in Gaza.
There's not an election anytime soon. Yeah. That's not happening. Now.
Yeah. But, so anyway, okay. Now we're near the end of time, but I did want to hit
end of time. End of no. We're the
end of times. End of times.
Yeah. It's no. Let's not get too hasty here. I'm hoping that I can outlive Trump by a long time.
Dogs and cats living together.
I hope I get a chance to piss on his grave when he's dead. They'll probably put him at that golf course over there where they put like what's her name, Ivana, like over there.
Okay, then.
Corner.
Okay. No, I wanted to hit. We need to close up, but I did want to hit the tariff stuff as well, real quick. And I think since the last time we talked, Yvonne, we've actually had the tariff threat come and go for Colombia, Mexico, Canada, and there's even been some back and forth in China as well. Let's real quick on the common theme
is that
on
all of them
these.
gave him something that he already was getting anyway. The three, the all three, they gave him something that he was already
Colombia,
getting
Canada,
anyway.
and Mexico. Colombia,
Yes.
Canada, and Mexico. It turns out in Colombia, the main actual like concession that was given anywhere is Donald Trump conceding not to use military planes and not to have them like all shackled when they're delivered, right?
Correct. Yeah, that was it.
Like that,
That's
because Colombia never actually objected to taking flights of migrants back to Colombia that were
Right.
Colombian citizens. They'd been happening during the Biden administration.
Yes.
But they were essentially happening on civilian flights. The people were, not in shackles and all of this kind of stuff. Trump tried to make it incredibly performative by using military planes and sending them in orange jumpsuits and chains. And that's what Colombia said no to. And Donald Trump backed off. And, the flights resumed in the same way they've been going for years.
Correct.
So that's Colombia. For Mexico, by the way, officially on Mexico and Canada, we're only on a 30-day delay on the tariffs. But we'll see what happens. But in Mexico,
by the way, and the problem with Mexico and Canada is that the current trade deal in place with them is the worst ever negotiated trade deal ever. That it's just a disaster, Sam. The trade deal that is in place with them is a fucking disaster that is stealing from America. Now, Sam,
who negotiated that?
Yes, who negotiated that deal and signed it? Who was it? Was it Obama?
It must have been.
It must have been, right?
Yeah, or Biden?
Biden?
Yeah, no, or it was probably Jimmy Carter.
It's Carter. Yeah, it was Jimmy. Yeah, just blame it on Jimmy. No,
it's Donald Trump.
Trump himself.
Donald Trump.
It's just like, what the fuck, man? We already renegotiated this fucking deal because you wanted it. We set that, we did it, and now you're like shitting all over your own fucking deal.
And so Mexico agreed to send 10,000 troops to the border.
Now, Sam.
Yes.
Was that, absolutely came out of the blue, right? Nobody expected them to send those troops over there, right?
They'd been doing that for years. Off and on, I gather the numbers fluctuate, but generally speaking, they have 10,000 plus people at the border doing that kind of work anyway. They'd done it. They'd most recently ramped up in requests because of the Biden administration asked them to in some way. And, it's unclear to me whether they're even sending anyone new to the border.
Right.
Like at this point,
and
they're just doing what they were doing. And Canada agreed to spend what was it, $1.3 billion or something on fentanyl or something.
Some system to interdict stuff like coming through the Canadian border now.
Which, by the way,
was the deal that they negotiated with the Biden administration.
Oh yeah, and they actually announced it fully in December. They just repeated it to Donald Trump that they were going to do that. And by the way, the fentanyl thing, apparently the actual volume of fentanyl through the northern border is
like nothing. Nothing. There's nothing.
So all three of these, Colombia, Canada, and Mexico, basically agreed to do things they were doing anyway. Yeah. Got the tariff threat removed or at least delayed. And in at least the Colombian case, they got the Donald Trump administration to back down on something else as well.
Right.
Now, here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
This is once again one of those things that Donald Trump is a master of, declaring victory off nothing.
Correct.
And depending how closely you're paying attention and which news sources you're paying attention to, like, you may hear what we just talked about, or you may just hear Donald Trump won and they back down.
Yeah.
And that's all you hear is Donald.
Yeah.
Donald Trump threatened them, and they backed down, and Donald Trump won. Tariffs are working.
Yeah, that's what they said. Tariffs are working.
And I suspect that a huge proportion of the American population and an even bigger proportion of Trump voters, all they heard is Donald Trump won.
I'm pretty sure as well. Yeah.
And so in the end, he gets what he wants. Like, because this is performative, this is transactional. And in this case, the transaction is essentially imaginary, but he gets a win out of it anyway.
Yeah, I know.
And meanwhile, with China, by the way, the tariffs went into force with China, and the biggest part that everyone was most worried about, that they were like, this is going to change the dynamics of Chinese commerce in the United States dramatically, is that it would apply to everything, whereas previously there had been an exemption for things under $800.
Well,
and so
and this is an exemption that occurs to, like, it's not just with China. There's this what they call it, the de minimis, basically.
Yeah,
like it's
de
a de minimis. It's of small value, basically. That those kind of shipments were exempt from customs, tariffs, etc., and so forth.
And the thing is, there are whole businesses that have been built on this.
Like exactly, Tamu and whatever, they've been built precisely on this.
Where
and
they're
so
shipping
that would have
low value items,
yeah,
and selling them cheap in the U.S.
Yeah,
and so like when the Chinese tariffs initially did go into effect, everyone was like, "Oh crap! This is going to kill all of those businesses. This is,"
because it would have added a lot of like process and cost to every shipment. It just would have. I mean, it just would have made it far more complicated because they're shipping directly from China. Okay.
Right.
And so the thing is that then every one of these would have had to have a customs clearance form and pay duties and taxes and had to be cleared from customs for every single one of these like tiny shipments. It was just would have been a crazy backlog. But now, Trump, for whatever reason,
has undone that.
Undid it. Yep.
Yeah, he put the exemption back in place.
I'm gonna, you want me to take a wild guess? That's probably not that wild.
What's that?
I wonder where the money got to him that whoever in Temu went and like bought, I don't know how much DJT, how many hotel rooms, what kind of like
Trump coin
or whatever the fuck that they went and they just decided to go and like spend a few $100 million, $1 billion. I'm like,
unlike the other three that we talked about, there's no public concession from China, even
nothing.
A fake concession.
Even a fake concession. Just got dropped.
Yeah.
Look, by the way, Venezuela the other day with now, of course, all the Venezuelans are like up in arms with like the fact that, they voted for him and all of a sudden he said, fuck your family. We're going to deport him anyway because everything's fine in Venezuela. Look, some oil guy must have made some nice payoff to him. There was like a Mar-a-Lago guy that somehow got all of a sudden to send Marco over there. Now we're friendly with Maduro, and now we're buying oil, and it's all of a sudden. And I'm like, okay, look, I mean, this is another one where it's very obvious that there is some payoff somewhere for this to happen. Is the Justice Department gonna investigate?
Oh, not only is the Justice Department obviously not going to investigate Donald Trump, but one of the areas that they have reportedly essentially shut down, there's two. One, the group within the Justice Department /FBI that was dedicated towards like FARA violations and, international agents, international influence, whatever. They're just shutting down that group. And just generally speaking, they're also apparently significantly reducing the folks that do public corruption in general. Because, like, why would you want to investigate that? They're talking to Eric Adams in New York about potentially, like,
Yeah, I know. I did hear that they're going to
that.
drop it. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Because and here's the thing: people are like, well, why would he do that? Eric Adams is a Democrat. Yeah,
because criminals are his friends.
Exactly. Like, because the idea in general that there should be restrictions on what kind of deals politicians could do in exchange for their actions is anathema in general.
Totally anathema.
Because of course that's what you want to do.
Yes.
That's just how business is done.
Right.
Now, do we have any proof of these specific briberies that we're saying? No, of course not. But is it plausible? Of course it is.
I mean, is it plausible? It's just plausible. It's probable. What are you talking about? What do you mean plausible? I mean, nothing else explains this shit.
The one other thing to mention on tariffs that came out in the last couple of days is the Trump administration is preparing global reciprocal tariffs, which basically, as I got the wrong one, but I pointed out on our Curmudgeon's Corner Slack that this was right out of a Tom Clancy novel as well.
Dead of Honor, not yeah.
I said some of all fears. Yvonne says it was Dead of Honor. It's been like 30 years since I read any of those books.
It has been 30 years, yes, since we read that book. Yes.
But anyway, like, no, the basic notion here is that if any country has a tariff on American goods, we put exactly the same tariff on their goods.
Okay, here it is. Let me read it, because I looked up the plot summary from Dead of Honor, 1994, Tom Clancy novel. Japanese industrialist Raizo Yamada has been plotting to bring back his country to a position of greatness for years, partly as revenge for the death of his family at the hands of American forces invading the island of Saipan during World War II. Then there is, it says here, there was some incident with a car accident, faulty gas tanks made in Japan. The incident leads to the swift passage of a law allowing the U.S. to mirror trade practices of the countries for which it imports goods, cutting off the American export market upon which Japanese economy depends. So there's your, so that was the initial plot point of the movie.
Okay. I will also add.
There's no movie on Dead of Honor, just the book.
Right. The book. I will add, though, since we are talking about fictional things related to this, people have also been pointing out that the opening crawl to Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, is the following. Turmoil has engulfed the Galactic Republic. The taxation of trade routes to outlying star systems is in dispute.
Hey, but that was all bullshit. I mean, who the hell would go to get into a tiff over the taxation of traders? What are you talking about, Sam?
Yes. Anyway. So the reciprocal tariffs actually, like, initially it's like, oh well, that might kind of make sense, but like the reality is here, this is another one of these things that is probably going to work out the same way that we're talking about Canada and Mexico and Colombia, which the default will be reciprocal tariffs everywhere. But then there will be all sorts of exceptions made. It'll be Swiss cheese based on like what Donald Trump thinks he can get transactionally out of all these different countries, which is what we, like, Yvonne and I, we talked like before the inauguration that the thing to watch with tariffs is not the tariffs themselves. It is what are the loopholes in the tariffs and what are the exceptions, because that's where the deals will get made.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in this case also, like, I think we said this before too, but like, if any of these actually go through and stay through, they'll be damaging, they'll be inflationary, all of that kind of stuff. But Trump's game is absolutely clear now. I think it was clear before, but it's absolutely clear now. It's threaten the tariff, get some sort of win out of it. And I say win, not real concession, because of what we talked about before. Like in some of these cases, yeah, they say they're doing something, but it's something that they were doing anyway. So it's only a PR win. Maybe in some cases he'll get something real out of it too, based on the threat. But
Right.
the key is the threat of the tariff,
Right.
and then try to get a win out of it without ever actually putting the tariffs in place for any period of time that
Which is,
matters.
by the way, it's his MO, which is why we're talking about a whole bunch of the changes with like
Although,
whatever.
to be fair, in his
you know,
first term, he put on a bunch of tariffs to China that stayed on,
that stayed, yes.
that did cause some
They
damage.
never, and they never got, there were some tariffs that never were.
I mean, he had to do these farm subsidies to make up for the losses that
Yes.
farmers got due to those tariffs. And so it's quite possible that in some of these cases, the countries will call the bluff, not do anything. The tariffs will go into effect and stay in effect. And then we will see some of these negative consequences of tariffs. But I suspect the international world learns quickly. And they are remembering how to do business from Donald Trump from what they found out last time, which is you flatter him, you give him PR wins. They don't have to be real wins. You know,
Right.
maybe
Right.
in certain cases you give him a real win, but you basically give him PR wins and you flatter him and you talk about how he's incredible and amazing and blah, blah, blah. And you can figure out a way to get through it without having the negative consequences actually hit. So, okay, that's it. We're done. We're over time. But I wanted to talk about tariffs because they're so interesting. Right?
Tariffs. Woo! Woo! Woo!
Yeah. And if you want a primer on tariffs, you know the one source, of course, to go to. Right, Yvonne?
I got what? What?
If you want to learn more about tariffs, there's only one thing to do. You're not going to get it. Rewatch Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh, yes, of course.
To get the lecture on the Smoot-Hawley tariffs.
Tariffs by fucking, what's his name, Ben Stein, who's also a MAGA asshole anyway.
Yes, there you go. So go rewatch that. And yeah. Okay, we're done here. Thanks, everybody. Oh, wait. Should I say this? Go to our website, curmudgeons-corner.com. All the stuff, the transcripts, how to contact us, Patreon, all that stuff. If you give us money at Patreon, we will eventually give you stuff, even though I'm slow and it takes me forever. Sorry, guys. And yeah, and $2 a month or more, or if you ask us, we'll invite you to Curmudgeon's Corner Slack, where Yvonne and I and others are chatting throughout the week. Yvonne, do you got anything from the Slack this time?
Do I have? Jesus, I forgot. Hang on. There's got to be something here. Yes, a brilliant one. Pete Hax's Venmo got leaked, and now people are flooding him with payment requests. It's so the one thing about Venmo, which I realized very early on when I went
is by default everything you do is public.
Right. And I very quickly, immediately, I saw this stream. I'm like, fuck this shit. I don't want everybody to know what the fuck I'm doing with my money or who the hell I'm paying, whatever. I went and I shut that shit off. But apparently, Pete Hax
Mine's still on.
Yeah.
I don't use it very often, but every time I do, I'm like, okay, everybody's going to see that I just gave, my daughter
$30.
I just gave my daughter $30 to buy my son dinner. Or whatever.
All right. Okay. All right. At least it's not hookers that you're paying, so that's good news. Okay. So Pete Hax's Venmo got leaked.
You say that, but that was part of the evidence against Matt Gaetz was his Venmo to the hookers.
Why am I not surprised?
Okay.
Anyway,
go ahead.
And now people are flooding him with payment requests. There's a remind button for me combined with the emotional damage. So this guy pending. You requested $45,000 from Pete Haxett. Why? Emotional damage. There you go. So people have been flooding him with requests. I'm sure that he's probably changed his thing by now. But yeah,
probably.
That was just.
I would be more interested if he was actually like paying the people who asked him for money.
Well, that would be, yeah. Well, that would be interesting. I mean, so what are you telling me? I should send him a payment request?
And see if he pays.
I mean, I don't understand. These people are cheap. I mean, only $45,000. I'm like, what the fuck? That's it? I mean, if you're really gonna hit him for. Although, of course, I think the limit on how much you can request. I was gonna say, why don't you request $1 million? I mean, what are you doing? I don't think you can Venmo. I don't think you can.
Well,
Venmo
and Hexeth has some money, but he's not Musk.
Yeah, he's not Musk. Oh well, damn.
Okay, we are done. Here comes the outro music. Thanks for listening, everybody. Tell your friends. Have a great week. Stay safe. We'll see you next time.
Look at his Venmo feed. Look, I'm looking at you before you go. Look, I just went in. I mean, this guy that I despise. I don't know who I have with I guess he have in contact. Tracy Lopez. This guy is a douchebag. I despise
you're giving his name publicly.
Oh
too.
yeah, fuck him. Whatever. He's a fucking asshole. Somehow he tipped an AA club, whatever the fuck that is. He did that on Venmo. Okay, for example. I got let's see what else. I got somebody paying for one guy paid his brother, another guy paid his brother. Ginger grooming and tip for groomer. So I'm guessing they groomed their dog. Wings. I don't know. Basketball. I mean, I don't know. But what else? I'm looking. I mean, that one I went because I'm like, I literally a guy I hated his guts. And why the hell is he showing up on my fucking feed? Fuck him.
Okay. Now can I say goodbye, Yvonne?
Yes, you can say goodbye.
Okay. Stay safe, everybody. Have a great week. Tell your friends to listen to the show. We'll talk to you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
Okay, hit and stop. See you later, Yvonne. Bye.
Bye. Okay, I'm successfully uploaded.
I'm still at 99. 99. 99. I'm done. Okay, bye.
Bye.